All right, babies. So we're back. Yay. So it's going to be a series about family. It's a family day, Christmas, and by the end of it, fuck, man. It really is one of those everything was going right until it wasn't. And naturally, you don't blame anyone but yourself, or else you'll just be repeating the patterns that exist before and you're not really going anywhere. So let's proceed. At one point, I was sitting with them, and if you don't mind, I'm going to be eating like a $3 cake sickle. I call it a cake sickle. I don't know. It's called Cake Me Home. Trying to support local people. But these fuckers, man, when it comes to Christmas, they're just like create stuff, and they're kind of like building a budget for the rest of the year. $3 for this. How? Fuck me. Wait. $3 for this. How amazing can it be? I don't know. But it's $3, man. It better be. Anyway, it's a brownie with a lot of chocolate around it. $3. Support local, always. Doesn't fucking matter. What upsets me is not the price. What upsets me is I'm not making enough money to actually pay for this without giving a fuck. But it's never about the money. I'm building a platform so people like them could actually like not have would not have to sell at this expensive price because whatever, man. It's just we'll get there. Let's stick to family issues. So here, sugar enters my system. Playing cards with the family. So today was supposed to be a day where I hang out and do jack shit. Remember, 4 days ago I was like, whatever it is I'm trying to do is kind of like pushing on top of me. I feel like I'm forcing stuff, and that's not how I want to do things. It's not how I believe life should be. That's not how I trust life is. Not how I want to do this, not how I believe life should be, not how I trust life is. And honest to God, there's this every religion, every spiritual leader, every fucking asshole, any spectrum you see, when they start doing something the way in a way that's basically exploring the truth of what like the outcome that they want is coming out harmoniously, and we use harmony beautifully because we all play music, right? Like in this could be harmony. This you can hear the part. Maybe I'm just like hearing about that. There's nothing harmonizing here, but this there's harmony. So life is harmony, and any religious organization, spiritual leader, fucking asshole, successful person, there's always a flow to them. And I realized my flow has been disturbed the last couple of weeks. And again, like my grandma passed away, and I knew the world's going to change in a way, and I knew I had to do things different. And I started planning things differently from the day I realized that I'm really just not moving. And again, like I wasn't really moving in a proper functional way, but I was still establishing my new apartments. Remember, I moved like 3 times over the period of over the past 6 months. I have moved 3 different places. So a lot's been happening, and I've been trying to catch the flow, but it's one of those like the wave is too big for me to do tricks on now. But first, I need to stabilize myself and then just like surf the wave. And then eventually, when I actually build up the confidence on it, I start doing tricks and all kinds of stuff. So, Surf's Up, you really need to watch that movie. It's an anime about like penguins surfing. But there are a lot of concepts in it that are very beautiful, and it's positioning as well because like Jeff Bezos talks about like waves and positioning and markets and like how the world works. So I wanted today to be one of those flows, and I intentionally was like, "Tariq, you're not going to work today. I'm not going to edit the article that I said I wanted to edit, and I'm not going to write another article that I said I wanted to write." Because that's what happens, right? When you're trying to be productive, you're kind of like pushing stuff, and as you push stuff, you think of different stuff, and then you have to like organize them. and you have to get them out and get them out and get them out, or else you start stressing yourself. And I realized that's not really like working the way I want. And I write and I make these videos and I do all kinds of things. I wanted today to be chill. So I was just playing cards and playing cards the redundant type, not like poker. I was playing like, I think it's called Katos. That's the actual. It's like they give you 14 cards and you have to pick different colors and you have to like count them to reach a certain like amount. And eventually, like all four people are playing against each other, and you have to build the cards on the deck on the floor, and people could use your cards to like finish. And then when you finish with your papers, you win. Oh, it's fun to basically like just look at people, be like, "Aha, I got you this one," or it's like, "Aha, look at me finish." And it's just like kind of like it's an arrogant, flamboyant show of like dominance, I guess. And it's fun because it's primitive and it's basic. It's men and women, right? Like there's no fucking difference. Anyone could just be like, we laugh, we'd be like, yes, I ended up winning when you thought you were. It's just kind of like that, I don't know, family style play, whatever you want to call it. And we were doing good. And as I waited for my turn to come, I'd be humming and I'd be thinking of things and I'd be singing. And it was like moving smoothly and beautifully. And it was literally like building up to be one beautiful. They were allowing me to do it. Now, I wasn't bad because I actually like can't sing. And I can hum. And most of my practices with the guitar the past month has been literally humming the chords and humming the actual notes in order for me to like pick up the scales and where the roots are. That's guitar theory. I can talk about this if you want some other time. But ultimately, like as I was singing, I started also like basically thinking of stuff and like taking notes about my songs, taking notes about like things that I'm doing, which just like I'm in my own space. I was kind of like feeling, I was vibing. It was beautiful. And it was such a good fucking feeling, especially after you kind of like hit a bit of anxiety, because I wanted to understand why I felt anxious. And then one of the main things is because you don't trust the safety that's been provided. You don't trust the kind of like surroundings in a way where once you drop your guard a bit, the first thing you notice is the reality around you kind of like changes. And objectively looking at the world kind of means you're not involved in it. And like to be able to objectively look at the world, but still be able to look at it subjective. It's just like it reminds me of again like my guy Miyamoto Musashi. I recommend like I read about him. I had a couple of his. I bought a book in 2019, but there's a manga that I recently read that was kind of like based on his character. Super fucking beautiful. I'd recommend everyone read it. Vagabond. But so my guy Miyamoto Musashi basically says like look deeply at the world and lightly at yourself. And so I think what he's trying to say, and again like that's a different video, it's promise you it's written in the notes. What he's trying to say is like you have to kind of objectively, you have to find a way to subjectively involve yourself in an objective outlook when it comes to the world, and to objectively see your own subjectivity when it comes to yourself. Yeah, have that one over your head. Don't worry about it. You're good. If you watch these, eventually I'll get to something huge. But ultimately, those really, I believe, the words that we use kind of like define how we are as characters and how we explain things is basically what we are, what we represent when it comes to ourselves. But so it was a beautiful vibe, and it kind of like got me asking, like, okay, what are the trusts? What is trust, and what is like, how do you establish it? And people talk about it, but the reality is like, to feel right, to be able to kind of like look at the people around you, and they did nothing wrong. They never did. They never tried to show me that they're not. It's just when you're finding it hard to be yourself around people, and especially because like what they're used to is what they're gonna project on you. And you being yourself and trying your best not to be like them and project yourself on them is naturally going to make you feel like you're susceptible to. Because normally, when you're projecting yourself, you're standing in the way so they don't fucking touch you. So whatever they say doesn't get to you. But effectively, the trust and all that good stuff, what we're doing is we're allowing people to flow. And when they're flowing, there's a give and take. And so if I'm not having myself being projected, that means I'm not using my ego, or I'm not actually allowing my ego to react and respond to their projections, which kind of means that I'm actually taking everything they're trying to throw at me. And I need to be, let's just say my flow has to be more of a Wing Chun flow, where like everything that comes to you has to kind of like flow, flow. Okay, if that's what you're saying, it's fine. And how many of these would you actually get? Because people kind of start becoming more intentional because they're not getting a response out of you. And then you have to either level up on the spot, understand, take a break, draw some boundaries. There are many ways for you to interact. But again, it was a beautiful vibe. And naturally with me, I was like, no, no, fuck it. Let's trust the vibe and see what comes out of it. Because if it's not actually, if I formulate an opinion beforehand, and then when that doesn't work, I reassess the opinion I formulated, because an opinion normally is formulated out of intuition. And the goal is to deepen my understanding of myself, my surroundings, the people, not the people, life, work, everything. And so basically, you need to develop a strong intuition so you don't really think of things, and you develop a bond of trust between yourself. And basically, that's how my day was going, where I was like, okay, I was engaging with myself, and I was elaborating and understanding what is it about that's kind of giving me a positive slash a feeling that's jumping between you might get hurt versus, oh my god, man, this is such an amazing thing, you're being yourself, singing and humming and like sending voice notes to yourself about the music you want to make when you go home, right? Good times. So families, man.